Hey folks, it's Steven, and I'm here and I look like a grizzled detective from the 1950s. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about the final day of TI8 and your fantasy team for it. So, as you may or may not have seen, the last day of TI8 is upon us with Evil Geniuses and PSG.LGD facing off in the lower bracket for the opportunity to face OG in the grand finals. And that's a surprise. I kind of actually sort of almost felt like OG was like a bottom tier team at TI8, and they have most certainly proven me wrong. Felt like their roster was too new, and that it didn't necessarily have enough proven talent to go for any length of time. But there they are in the grand finals. It'll be interesting to see if they end up being more of a TI5 CDEC, or maybe like, a TI4 Vici Gaming, where they just got hot. They're a good team that got hot at the right time, but kind of fades off as time goes on. Or if this ends up being like that, I guess more like a Team Liquid, where they're just really good and they stick around. But either way, a huge, excellent combination of teams. Regardless of who ends up in the grand final, it's gonna be a treat to watch. So really interesting day fantasy wise, because as with the last couple days, you're going to the highest ceiling you can get for points is to go all in on the team that you think is going to play 2 series tomorrow. Now, like I said, EG and PSG.LGD are going to face off and then move on to the grand finals later that day. So if you're really feeling super duper confident in either PSG.LGD or EG, you should go with all 5 of those players. That said, unlike previous days, there is an interesting option. Probably the safest overall bet would be to do the same thing, go all 5 players, but pick OG. Let's say you end up having your team stacked with EG players, they lose. They have 2 games that you're ultimately getting points from. OG, on the flip side, even if they lose, they have a minimum of 3 games that they're getting points from. Again, the highest ceiling would be to go all 5 players from a team that you think is going to win, and then move on to the grand finals. Then you get a total of 5 games from each player. But there is value there. The way to hedge your bets is to mix in an OG player or 2. Now, you could do what I said. You could, there are lots of options there. There's honestly no way to play it wrong for this. If you end up hedging your bets between PSG.LGD and EG, then you're going to get a few players that get 5 games in. If you go with 5 players from OG, then you raise the floor. If you just mix all 3 teams together, there's still value in that. There's so many different ways that you could play this, and there's no real wrong way. But for me personally, I've got my own stuff going on, and I will show you what I am ultimately doing. So there it is. That's my fantasy team for Saturday. And as you can see, I'm playing all 5 members of Evil Geniuses. Now, I know that it's not necessarily relevant to you personally, but for me, this basically ends up working in 2 ways for me. My bracket, if you saw our bracket video, my bracket ended up shaking out very, very nicely. And if LGD wins, I end up in the 10 Battle Pass levels bracket for my rewards for it. If not, well then I end up getting a bunch of fantasy points, as well as just the general entertainment of watching EG and OG face off in a TI8 finals grudge match. So either way, I'm going to be ending tomorrow happy. That's what I'm going to play. But if I were going to recommend one specific strategy for you personally, I think that there's value in mixing up a team of LGD players and EG players. You might want to do Artesian Sumail with these back three from PSG.LGD or vice versa. It's a very, very, very competitive series. PSG.LGD, I picked them to win. I'm still feeling pretty good about that pick, honestly. But boy, oh boy, OG has looked so hot to this point. They have been just lights out consistently in a way that I didn't think that they would be capable of. And on top of that, earlier today, being 24th here, we saw Evil Geniuses kind of kick the shit out of Team Liquid. And if you really want to establish yourself as the team to beat with three really good teams about to compete in the finals of TI8, the best way to do that would be to just shit kick a top tier organization like Team Liquid. And that's what Evil Geniuses did. So there's a lot to like about picking either team. I'm going all in on EG, but the safest bet in my mind would be to either mix in EG and PSG.LGD players. So then you do get a few games. You'll get 2 from one, but then you'll get a guaranteed 5 from the other one. Or you can go all 5 for OG. Like mathematically, you can break this down yourself. You go 5 for EG. If you go 5 for OG, then you're going to get 15 games between your 5 players. If you do 3 of Evil Geniuses and 2 of PSG.LGD, then you'll get either 6 plus 6, which is 12, or 9 plus 6, which is 15. So, but if you're doing like this, and it pays off with EG winning and then moving on to the grand finals, then that's 25 games. So there's a big difference there. Like I said, I'm riding or dying with them. Either way, as you can see, my fantasy team has done pretty well, all things considered to this point. Not the greatest. And this hasn't updated yet, I don't believe. I don't think I'm actually, 4th place in the world right now. And my Team Liquid strategy paid off pretty nicely, but I don't think that was an especially unique strategy. But a bunch of different ways to play it. I'm doing this, but if I was going to pick a way, I'd go either mixing together LGD and EG, LGD and EG, or going all 5 players of OG. I think there's value in both of those. So anyway, I've been rambling long enough. As I previously discussed yesterday, MTarget and I are going to be continuing to do Dota 2 content creation, regardless of whether or not people watch. But we do like it when you watch, and we want to know what to do to get you to watch. What kind of content do you want to see? What kind of topics are you interested in us discussing? What other kind of stuff do you want to really, learn about, to hear about? And do you want us to, stop doing this stuff on YouTube and actually, get a SoundCloud account finally and make it an actual podcast? Let us know. Because we're doing this and we're having fun doing it. And we're probably going to do it regardless. But, we want people to listen to what we say. We want to have more listeners. We want to create a community. So let us know. And like, comment, and subscribe. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. And enjoy the grand finals of TI8. Because regardless of who wins, regardless of how your fantasy team does, should be pretty darn entertaining.